So welcome to a new Game Stuff episode, and I have a few things to show today, some kind of really neat items, and a couple of old videos from like 16 years ago for comedy relief that I'm going to show that are unbelievable. It's crazy that I'm even showing them, but before I get into it all, I will ask you guys, what is some new game stuff that you picked up? Some new video games, some new merch? Let me know, and everybody else down below. Okay, so before I begin, I also want to say thank you to everybody out there for watching the show, because we just hit 300,000 subscribers, and I mean, it's been a heck of a long road. What a milestone. Kind of blown away by it, to be honest, because I started the show 15 years ago. I've done 1,100 episodes, and it's been a very slow progress over the years, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it. It has been so much fun, and I want to thank you guys for always sticking around and watching me talk about video games and video game memories and things like that. I do really appreciate all of you for watching, or there would be no show. So that's where we're at, and I want to thank all of you for all of the years of support. Okay, let's start off with the first item, and this is kind of fitting, and this kind of fits with the show so much, because it is about me in a lot of ways, for sure, that the first item that I picked up is such a me thing, okay? That's why I brought that up, such a me thing. Now, many years ago, I did a review on Final Zone 2, this game right here. I have the CD of it. I picked it up back when it was first released in the very early 90s for the TurboGrafx, and this game is kind of famous for one thing. I kind of made it famous back in the day when I first started the show because of the terrible cinematics and the dub.
Only 6 of us survived. Oh! Here come the Rebel Army soldiers. There's no damage on the weapons. Let me show them some fancy action now.
And the singing. The singing is insane. And there's one song in here that is so ridiculous, and it's called, with bazookas. I don't even know the actual name of the song. It just plays. So what's really strange is it's an overhead action game, and you use mechs and stuff like that. You know, back in the day, I just love that stuff. So I had to get Final Zone 2. So as the start screen begins, this crazy song begins to play. I couldn't even believe it was real.
Justice on full, fight to the death. Watching them fall, burst into flames with bazookas.
And the sad news is, over the years, I memorized the song. It just became one of those things that went into my brain and would not leave. And I found a piece of video that we did just for fun back in the day, where it was Rob's 30th birthday. This is nearly 16 years ago. And in the old games room here, we were very drunk, and I sang the Final Zone song from that level to Rob for his birthday, and we edited it kind of funny. It's just one of those videos that we used to do for ourselves, just for the heck of it. And yes, I'm gonna show it right now because it's absolutely ridiculous. Here we go. And it is the opening to Final Zone 2, an old TurboGrafx game. You know, for sure. Very unknown, but for anybody who knows, they're very cool. And Rob, this song for your 30th birthday is for you.
That's great.
Guys, we got it. I feel we got it.
I know. Isn't it crazy with bazookas? We always sang that song. We always thought it was so much fun and all of that. So yes, this game right here means a lot to me. It really does. And as time's gone on even more through the years, it means more and more to me through there. So I did something, and I got a great deal off eBay. I've been waiting for it for a long time to see if one would show up. I got it for like $100. It's a steal. A beautiful boxed version of Final Zone 2. Finally, after all these years, because it is, and look at the box art. The box art is just horrible. Everything was against this game, but for me, it became a cult classic. I finished it multiple times. I love the music. I love the terrible cinemas. I love every single thing about this game. It is a cherished game from my youth. And to finally have a box version on the TurboGrafx means a lot, so thrilled to get this. Yeah, the nostalgia was firing on all cylinders because I picked up this of all games. Of all games. Not an expensive game by any means at all, but I got a beautiful mint copy of it. You'd be like, why did you get this? I'm just showing it. Tommy Lasorda Baseball right here for the Sega Genesis. You know, back when the Genesis was released, there was, you know, the entire launch lineup, and I just like would look at every single game. I want to get this, I want to get this, and obviously when you're a kid and you get a system, you can get 2 games. If you get that and borrow some games with some friends. And Tommy Lasorda Baseball was always the game that I looked at, and I was like, look at these graphics. Oh my God, I can't believe. You know, it made me, I liked baseball, but playing baseball on a console machine was not something that I would normally do. But when I saw Tommy Lasorda's baseball, you know, play out and how it looked, I thought, oh yeah, you know, I've really got to get this, and I never did. And so this one is like buying my youth in a way as well, you know, besides Final Zone 2 here, just a game that I never owned, one that I always wanted to have. And, you know, it's funny, you look at the graphics now and you kind of think to yourself, wow, I mean, they don't look great compared to today's standards, but there was a time when this was state of the art. And that is what's so funny, and that's why I had to pick it up. And the little game that was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed finally came out, got my physical copy of Advance Wars, the Boot Camp 1 and 2. Had to get this. Have any of you guys been playing this game? What do you think? Is there anybody in the comment section who had never played the Game Boy Advance version that picked this up on a whim and is playing it? I want to know what you think about it. Like, is it enjoyable? Is it living up to expectations? Is it what you thought it would be? I love it, and I think it's really fantastic. Right now I'm spending a lot of time playing the Pixel remasters for Final Fantasy, but this is one of those games that I've got in there that I'm playing, and I think it's really good. I want to put a lot more time into it because it's a treasured game. And I never said it the other day in some games I was playing. I bought a Game Boy Advance because of this game. I never said that. There was a few games on the horizon. I'm like, oh yeah, Advance Wars back in the day, like 2001. I'm like, yeah, I gotta get that. I mean, it's just so anime and strategy and all of that. I mean, this game was just right up my alley. Had to pick this up. So fantastic. High recommendation. Okay, I ordered this game. It finally showed up. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. Right here. And I remember this was on Game Pass, and I didn't play it, and I thought, no, I'm gonna get a physical copy of the game. It came shipped with a soundtrack. I picked that up as well. And this is kind of like a side game to Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes that hasn't come out yet, and it's kind of a side view action style of game, and it's really weird that this kind of came out of nowhere, but it's a little RPG, and it's kind of a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series, and that's a series that I really liked back on the PlayStation 1. I just thought that was one of the best games on there for RPG fans. If you played it, you know it. If you don't know it, you should try it. But I had to pick up this, and I know it's a smaller little game. I know it's not like a triple A game by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one that looked interesting to me, so I had to pick it up. Okay, this is a long time coming, and that is the Contra Collection. Right here, the Anniversary Collection. I ordered this, I don't even remember. Sometimes with limited run games, I don't even remember anymore when I ordered a game. They just gotta show up and I'm like, oh yeah, I ordered that. And here we go, Contra. For many of us out there, I mean, my first experience was on the NES. I remember going to my friend Jeff's place in like 1987, 1988, playing it, and it was just like, oh my god, the action of it, the arcade casino style graphics of it, at that time was some of the best stuff you'd ever played. And for any of us out there who like kind of like action games, Contra is carved into all of the older guys and gals watching this right now, because we all grew up with this. Anybody who's my age, Contra, we all know Contra so well. I mean, if you didn't own Contra, you had a friend like, like Jeff, who had it down the road. Like for me, going over to his place and playing it. I loved Contra back in the day, and yes, I had to get the Anniversary Collection. This is one that I'll definitely be trying out. Okay, this is an interesting one because it's an older game that came out many years ago. I went to my local video game store, Willow Video Games, and I picked this up months ago. It was sitting over here. I'm like, I should really show this. Windjammers, an old Neo Geo game that got ported to so many systems, so many things. It's been overly done, but it's a fun game, and me and Kim have had some games of this, and I've driven her crazy with it, kind of thing. But if you're throwing this disc around, and you're trying to get into the other person's net, you're trying to defend against it, use your special abilities on it, it's fun. It's really good. It's a classic game. Is it one of the greatest games ever? It's kind of like a take on Pong in a way, but a classic for sure. Okay, this next game seems very, very interesting to me. Little Witch No Better, right here. Have any of you guys heard of this game, or any of you guys playing this game? Give me a mini review down below so I can quickly check it out and make sure that I'm not going to go into something terrible here. From everything that I've seen, this looks really like a lot of fun. Kind of an action RPG style of things. I know some people have said like Souls. I don't even know what that means until I play it. I'm gonna, not go into that kind of judgment yet. But the graphics look really nice. I kind of like the Witch and all that. And I got the special edition. And the one thing that I want to say, it came with the Witch. And I got a story here. This sat on the shelf with this game for a little bit of time until I could come in and talk about it in a new Game Stuff episode. And it's there, and my daughter keeps coming in, and she's like, "What's that? What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the Little Witch." And she's like, "Can I have it?" She wanted it. She was being really cute about it too. And I said, "Yeah, I just got to shoot an episode with it, and then you can have it," and all of that. And then that lasted about one day, and I'm like, "Oh, here you go." And she loves this. She just walks around everywhere with it now. One of her favorite things in the world. Very, very adorable looking stuff. And the game looks kind of adorable. It does. And so it's one of those ones I'm definitely going to check out in the future. Oh yes, here we go. Here's a crazy thing. Neptuna, Sister versus Sisters. I know, a Neptuna game. These games are very interesting. There's a lot of people that love these games, a lot of people who don't care for them, and a lot of people that don't even know what they are. And this is kind of an RPG series. It started on the PlayStation 3, and I got my copy then from back in the day, and I thought, this is really cutesy. It's one of those very, very Japanese games that should almost remain in Japan. But we're glad that it didn't. It came over here, and this game is it's a strange mix of a bag of a game. Like, it's a lot of things in it that are really good. A lot of things are not so hot. I personally like it for its fan service of what it is, and it's kind of mimicking, consoles in Japan, and even consoles over here like Xbox and things like that, with the characters. And I just like the cartoony graphics of it, the anime graphics of it. It's a very homegrown Japanese game, that is for sure. And it has its fans and its detractors, and both are equal into the argument for sure. But Neptuna is one of those ones that I'm very happy to get. Okay, the next game I picked up on Amazon, and I've been eyeing it for a long time. The price dropped big time, and I went and grabbed it because it was one of those ones I was eyeing since it got released, and it kind of slipped through the cracks for me. It was one of those games I'm like, I want to get to it, I want to get to that, and I could never get to it. And that is Kena, Bridge of Spirits, right here. Have any of you guys played this game? I think the graphics look really good. It's kind of like a Zelda-esque style of game going on in there, action platforming going on in there as well. I think it looks really stunning. And from my kind of take on it, and this is just my take, I'm not even playing the game, this is one of those ones that really fell off the tracks for a lot of people. Maybe a bit of a cult classic, dare I say. I because from everything I said, I was reading about it, all of that, everybody seemed to like the game, but it just went under the radar, through the cracks, and nobody talked about it, not very much. not very much. Maybe I'll give this a go and see how it is in the future. But what are your reviews on this game? Okay, not a huge episode, as I say, but a couple more items to show. That is for sure. This one, oh my gosh. This one's a good one. I like this. When this showed up, I kind of got that fanboy kind of, feeling in the stomach, the butterflies, because it's something that for many of you who've watched the show for a long time, you know how much I love this series, and you know how much I adore the music, and that is Zentada. The Ninja Warriors album finally showed up, and I'm trying to get that really close. I just want to say something here. This is one of my favorite arcade games, nearly of all time. I really love this game. Street Fighter's there, Alien vs. Predator back in the days there, but the Ninja Warriors is there, and I just want to say, the one thing I like about this final soundtrack is the artwork they put on here. They put all the old school art here, and it looks absolutely stunning. Really stunning stuff, and I love the music in this game. I mean, back in the day, I remember it was the very first song that I ever got off LimeWire, because I didn't have the CDs or anything back in the day. We're talking in the year 2000, by the way, so to put that into perspective. And I used LimeWire, and I think it took me about an hour and a bit to download the song Daddy Milk. Okay, that's the first song that plays in the first level of the Ninja Warriors arcade game. And I downloaded the song, and I was in heaven because I loved the song in the arcade. And when I finally got the song at home, I was playing it all the time. And I remember my friend Rob coming over, and he got so sick and tired of hearing the song because I was playing it like 24 hours a day. It was really funny. It's really kind of cute when I look back how much I adored that song. Still do to this day and all that. And I remember him saying, "Here we go, Zentada Radio, for the very first time ever, Daddy Milk playing for the 1,300th time today." I remember him doing that kind of thing back in the day and all that. So the funny thing is, Rob bought me the original vinyl that was, I think, released in 1988. He got it for me for Christmas one year, and this is a brand new pressing. So if anybody's interested in the Ninja Warriors, Arcade Classics Volume 5, definitely pick it up. I think you can just get this on Amazon. I ordered it directly from the company, shipped to shore when they first created it. So very, very meaningful, and one soundtrack that means a lot to me. Really means a lot to me. Last item, not a crazy item either, just something from my past that I finally picked up again. Back in the 90s, if you want to know about Japanese video games, you'd find out about it in video game magazines, or you go to the source. And I had a beautiful little bookstore downtown for me, a little beautiful Japanese bookstore called Sophia's Books. And I would go in there and I would buy Famitsu magazines and, Japanese, video game magazines talking about the latest games. And I ordered this from PlayAsia because, with me, Fire Emblem Engage, I finished that game. It was awesome. I talked about how much I love the character designs, and I saw the cover, and it's very rare that I order a Famitsu, but I decided to get it, and it's one of those ones that's really cool. Another Famitsu I'd like to get is the one with Shin Megami Tensei 5 on it. It's probably worth something now and all that, but very happy to get this. And I remember, I got a story. I'm going to end on a story I've never told before. For any of you who are still hanging out, thank you. Hear me out in this one. I remember in the 90s going down to Sophia's bookstore and buying Japanese books and Famitsu magazines. I got this one story where I got mugged. This is a real story. You couldn't make this up. So I was with my friend Trevor, and we went downtown, and I'm the crazy guy into video games and anime back then. So we went to Sophia's bookstore. This is so nuts. And I got a Famitsu magazine with Street Fighter 2. So it's during the Street Fighter 2 time when it came to arcades first back then. And so I had bought my Famitsu magazine. I had like a Crispy Crunch bar. As many of you know, back in the day, for some reason, I love Crispy Crunches and all that. I had this. I bought a Crispy Crunch bar. I know, this sounds funny. And I'm downtown Vancouver with my friend Trevor, and we're going down an escalator to go to the SkyTrain to go home from this big trek out for us in the day. And I must have been about 15 years old, 15, maybe 16. And, so we're going down the escalator, and two thugs came up, man. And you don't see this the same. You probably see it in a lot of different cities, but you don't see it in Vancouver. One guy comes in front of me, one guy comes behind us. These guys were towering over us and basically said they were going to like kill us unless we gave them everything that we had. And these guys must have been in their 20s. What a bunch of losers. When I look back now, what a bunch of losers. You know, to mug little kids? Man, I tell you, if I could find those guys nowadays. But anyways, I guess what they stole from me, or they took from me. Because I had a bag. They're like, oh, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's a Japanese video game magazine. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll take that. And so they took the bag. It was in a bag. And they're like, what else you got? I had my Crispy Crunch bar. They took my Crispy Crunch bar. I had some change on me. I didn't have a lot of money. I was a young kid. I think they took like $4 off me, and they were gone. This is the kind of losers they are. But hear this. It's kind of a good end to the story. So we waited it out, and I'm like, I was so mad. And I was like, I don't know why we decided to do it, because the memory is a long time ago. We're talking like 30 years ago, this memory. And so we ended up going back to Sophia's bookstore. And I went in and I said, hey, did somebody try to come back with a magazine? They're like, yeah, but they didn't have the receipt or something like that. So we said no to them. I'm like, really? So they actually tried to go back and sell Famitsu magazine. I guess it was about $20 back then. So here's the weird thing. I went back outside and there was a garbage bin. And the weird thing, I don't know why I decided to do it. I looked in it and there was my bag with my Famitsu magazine. And I looked and there was my magazine. So they came out, got frustrated, they couldn't sell it, and just dumped it and took off. Isn't that funny? Because they saw Sophia's bookstore on the side of the bag and all that. And I just want to say, Sophia's bookstore is no longer there. Really miss that place. It was a magical place for anybody in Vancouver back in the 90s. That was the place to buy anything anime, manga related, book-wise. So great. But anyways, there's my story about getting mugged, you know, with a Famitsu magazine. It was ridiculous. I got that magazine back. I still have it somewhere. I'll dig it up one day for the pure nostalgia of it, that's for sure. So guys, I will ask you, what have you picked up lately in the way of new games, in the way of new merch? Let me know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.